Hi guys, spends $20 here. Welcome to today's special episode. We have a collaboration, yay! So this is going to be the second half of a conversation I've had with Ash of the Elite Clans. You probably know Clash with Ash, but if you want to hear the first part, click the link I've put on the screen. That'll take you straight to the video on his channel. Or simply search Clash with Ash on YouTube. So I won't take up too much more of the time introducing this because it's quite a long one. So get a cup of coffee, sit back and listen to our conversation about building clans.
I guess moving on a little bit, we talked about a decent amount about recruiting there. I wanted to especially get your thoughts on expanding your clan. So now you have one or maybe two clans, maybe a clan and a feeder clan. Well, how do you, I mean, you said you had 16 clans in Las Phoenix?
18
clans.
Yeah,
so,
I did set the limit at 18. And
wow.
The thing was, you know, it wasn't like a megalomaniac style scenario. You know, it wasn't the case that we wanted to just build as many clans as we could. I mean, technically, I'm pretty certain we could build another 18 probably
yeah,
tomorrow,
sure.
due to obviously the profile of some of the people that are there. That's the reason now that we could do it. But they all do have their function, and they were all created for a reason. You know, there's no point in creating a clan that has no purpose or no reason, because nobody's going to stay in there. They need to have a reason. And I've got to admit, several times we named clans incorrectly. So for example, they didn't have their own identity. So the very first expanded clans after Lost Phoenix was Lost Phoenix 1 and Lost Phoenix 2. They have no identity then. They're just a clan with a number after it, which almost signifies, well, not quite as good as the main clan. And I was very keen to make sure that wasn't the case anymore, because these people, just because they weren't as highly upgraded, that doesn't mean that they weren't as important to the group, right?
Sure.
So we decided that the best way then was to individually name those clans and give them their own identity. So that's when we came up with it was the mythical beasts and the Greek gods, that kind of thing, and all of them got their own identity. And now the people in those individual clans, they're so loyal to their clan. Even, you know, if you've got LPs, they've all got their own catchphrases and everything, and they feel so much loyalty to those individual clans. It's amazing. It became so difficult to get them to promote up because they loved their clan that they were in so much.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We got to the stage where we had 3 at each level, but I mean, I don't think it really helps anyone me describing how we did that in the end point. It's at the very beginning where people really struggle. So if you expand too early and you separate your core team, then you end up with too little activity in 2 separate clans, and 2 clans that are struggling rather than one that's functioning really, really well. So it's that separation time that you've got to get exactly right. Our time was when we knew that we had trophy hunters who really wanted to push trophies, but they were getting a little bit frustrated with the farmers who just weren't going to push with them. So that's when we immediately got the farming clan built, so that the 2 clans could have their own. One would be farming and one would be chasing trophies. Of course, this was before war.
Sure.
And now I guess you'd probably do it. I don't know, because I think everybody likes war, don't they? Who doesn't like war?
I think so. I think now it's, you know, it started out, like you said, that a lot of people were like, I'm not a war clan. We're not a war clan. But I think even the non-war clans are still going to war, if you know what I mean, you know? Like,
yeah, I think most clans are pretty much at constant war now. I know maybe the perks have had something to do with that, but I'd be surprised if you were starting out that you would designate, as you might have done originally, a war clan, a farm clan, and a trophy clan. You probably wouldn't do that anymore. It wouldn't really make any sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think it's very impressive. Kudos to everybody in Las Phoenix for you know, maintaining a group that large. It's awesome.
They, to be honest, some of the people there are absolutely amazing. I mean, this is one of the things that you've got to realize as a leader. You simply cannot do it all yourself, and you know, you've got to get the right people in there to help you, because otherwise you will burn out. And you see clan leaders, they do burn out because they haven't managed to get the right team around them to help them build the clans. Because when you first start out, you've got to be the guy online the most, you've got to be the guy donating the most, you've got to be somewhere high up there in the trophies, you've got to be somewhere high up there in the war stars. It's a grueling thing to be the leader starting out at the beginning. It
is. I remember waking up in the beginning of Red Elite and almost opening the app in in really being shocked or afraid of how many members I would have. You know, how close is that membership to where it was when I went to sleep?
Yeah, what disaster could have happened
Exactly.
overnight, right? Because I mean, those things would happen all the time in the initial stages, and you try not to let it set you back.
Yeah, yeah, and now things have, you know, obviously calmed down a lot. We have a huge team of co-leaders, and you know, my big point is regarding expansion is just really don't do it until you feel you're ready. You know, you don't really want to weaken your core or your foundation too much by sending, for example, a bunch of your best co-leaders to a new clan to start anew, because then you're spreading the forces thin. I mean, you can do that maybe once, maybe twice, but you have to have a system in place. As far as you have to make sure your foundation is always really strong, you know.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you need to make sure that you even need that new clan, first of all. I mean, for some people just think, well, let's have another one for the sake of having it, but there's got to be need for it. And I mean, one of my big things has always been that a lot of it, when people do leave your clan, good people, it's generally because they've got to the stage where they'd like to start their own clan, and that's perfectly understandable. You know, people get frustrated at that, but that's a normal thing in the game. That's the way I would suggest other people do it. In actual fact, essentially learn your trade in a good clan with people who are higher than you, and learn quickly, and then you can leave. You've probably made a few friends. You don't want to start the clan entirely by yourself. I mean, that's virtually impossible. You want to have a few guys with you, and then you can. And people do that, or they used to do that with Lost Phoenix all the time. They would leave, take a few friends with them, and start again. And I would find that we were losing talent that way. So these were good people, would leave on good terms, but I'm thinking, well, you know, everybody has the right to lead a clan at some point. I mean, it's part of the game if somebody really wants to do that. So that's why, you know, now with 18 clans, there's almost always the opportunity for somebody to lead a clan. Cool. And I think that's great. So it's very rare that somebody has to leave to achieve their in-clash goals, because they can all be achieved within the group, which I think
that's really cool. That's a really nice advantage you have of having all those clans. Is I'm sure there's restorations and re-emergences of clans, and it really cool.
It can be. I mean, we've had clans that have failed. I mean, I admit we had clans that we had one that failed, and I was so determined that it wouldn't lose its war record. I put a mini in there, and it sat there with just a mini for 3 months. And that clan is now the number 2 Lost Phoenix clan. It was rejuvenated. People went back in there. We did fill it up after 3 months, and you know, we just didn't give in. But I mean, I don't know about you. Do you call your other clans feeders, or do you just call them partner clans or alliances?
It's a great question. We because I know that's a hot topic in the community, right? Are feeders good or bad? And I'm in the feeders are bad camp. I don't like having clans called feeders. I like clans, and it's just my style, I guess, or my preference. But I like clans to have their own identity and feel as if, rather than a feeder. So, for example, some of our clans have Town Hall 8s in them. That's as low as we go in our alliance. But the clans with Town Hall 8s, I don't want them to feel like, oh, maybe once I'm max Town Hall 10, I'll go to Battle Elite or Red Elite. I want them to feel like, hey, maybe when I'm a max 10, will be as good or better than Red Elite or Battle Elite. I like the healthy competition amongst the clans in the alliance. Sure.
I have since the very beginning. I've almost never has anyone been able to catch me calling them feeders. I don't like calling them feeders. I mean, that diminishes their position as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're a clan in their own right, and the feeding process is a very difficult thing to do. I mean, people get attached to those clans. They don't necessarily just want to be fodder, you know, just fed up and just used and abused.
Who wants to join or be in a clan where everybody's constantly talking or vying for a spot in a different clan? You know, that's just not a healthy clan environment in my opinion, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we've tried so many different ways to get people moving upwards gradually. So we'd move them in groups of 5 so they didn't leave their friends behind, or we'd see. I mean, it doesn't matter now because the clans are always full, but there were times initially where sometimes the higher clans were not full, and we're trying to get people up from the lower clans saying, hey, come and fill up, and they're just so attached to their clans they don't want to move up. They're really happy where they are.
Exactly.
And eventually you start to realize, look, you can't force people in a game to do something that they're not going to enjoy doing. So you've got to get the right people in firstly that are going to enjoy the same things as you, but then not try and force them to do things they don't want to do, because you're going to end up with an unhappy clan.
No, I agree 100%. So I think we're on the same page there. I guess finishing up or rounding off the conversation, I was curious as to what you guys use in Lost Phoenix to communicate, or maybe to, as far as war strategy goes, to organize things? Like, what kind of, whether it be a chat app or anything else, do you use?
Yeah, so each of them has their own way that they run the wars. So they
Okay.
might be using just line. I mean, there are some clans who literally they paste the 50 names into the line chat, and everybody then repastes it with their name on the number of the base that they're going to attack. And I mean, you end up with like the longest line
Wow.
chat you've ever seen, but they really like doing it that way. And
Wow,
that's
yeah.
fine, because if they like doing it that way, there's no way I'm going to go there and force them and say, right, you need to use Clash Call, or you need to use
Yeah,
this.
whatever works for them, yeah.
Yeah, whatever they're happy with. And then there's obviously the others that are using separate apps where they're going to be calling bases, and they're quite strict on, if you don't call a base, they're going to be pretty frustrated at that. And they've got their own rules, you need to call after 12 hours, it's a free for all, whatever it may be. And they're all free to make their own rules as far as that's concerned. But everybody must have line. So there's nobody in any of the Lost Phoenix clans who doesn't have line.
Yeah, we're the same
It's just
way.
not allowed. So
Yep.
it's just a better way of keeping control. But the other day I decided to join all. I said, can you please invite me to all the line chats? I just wanted to have a quick overview of what was going on and which line chats we had. Right, it's important
Yeah,
to know
sure.
what's actually going on. There was 105 line chats I was invited
Wow.
to, and I was sat in them, and I tried to keep up. And of course, it's virtually impossible. You've got 10, 15,000 messages a day.
Sure. Yep. I know the
But
feeling.
it was interesting to to just go through there, see how people were doing, see what the other clans were doing, and everybody was doing pretty well. I was really happy with what I saw.
Yeah, I must say, yeah, we're the same way. A line is required. There's so many different third-party chat groups, but I think it's really important to have that extra layer if you want to be a serious clan. And it's funny, I'm sure you're the same way, but when we started making line a requirement for new players, we would get the occasional player who would balk at it, like, oh, a third-party chat app, are you kidding me? But now it's funny, we never ever get that anymore, and it just shows the rise of the popularity, I think, of these chat apps,
Yeah, we had the same. They're like, oh, I'm not installing another. I've already got like 3 or
Yep.
4 of these. But now, yeah, line seems to be the one that seems to be the most popular that most people seem to have. And people have tried some others. I've heard some people have been trying Binder. Is it
Bindle? Yeah.
Bindle? Sorry, yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if people have had great success with that. I'm not entirely sure.
I like Line. I prefer Line. I use Bindle too, though. Bindle's great, and I use that for YouTube and stuff for my viewers. But
Right.
as far as Line, the thing I love about Line is they have the posts section, and we use that heavily. It's where you can basically create something like sticky notes in
Yeah,
each
yeah.
chat, and we use that for war strategy, for new member, relations, and all kinds of
Have you
other
got base designs in there, for example, for your war guys? Or
yeah,
have you
we'll have
posted-
base designs, we'll have photo albums. We really utilize all the aspects of Line. That's the beautiful thing about it. As even when a new member enters our clan, I guess this could be a good tip for people who use Line already. For when a new member enters any of our clans, we direct them to go to the post-it notes, and there's 2 posts where one is our war strategy, and the other one is expectations and the whole probation thing I talked about, the war probation
Yeah.
earlier in the conversation. And what they do is they just thumbs up. It allows you to kind of like it, like a Facebook like thumbs up type thing, to acknowledge that you've read it. So that's how we keep everybody on the same page and stuff. So I love Line for those features.
I must admit, I was a bit of a Line noob, and I didn't even realize I had a profile on there. And people have been writing things on this profile that I didn't know existed for literally 2 years. And I eventually spotted it. I just thought, who are these people? What are these things they're writing on my profile, commenting
Yeah.
on my pictures? I thought that was bizarre. But we have ban lists in there as well. So players who've left previously, or they were banned for whatever reason. So we have a list of players there who are not allowed to come back. But how do you work it as far as chats across the different clans? So do you have like group chats between everybody, or do you have certain ones that are done together? Or
I think we might be the same way, maybe not, but based on what you just said, is that we don't have a general chat for all our clans, because having like 300 people in the same chat can just get spammy. I've found we've tried it before, but instead what we have is we basically, for every clan, we have just a member chat, a regular chat, and then a co-leader chat. And then we have a group chat for all our co-leaders in the entire alliance, which is about 60 or so people. And then on top of that, we have like an executive board where, some of the founding members, if we talk about, possibly expanding, stuff like that, like big decisions. Yeah. So that's kind of our structure.
Yeah, so ours is very similar, only we have, over time, because we do have players who do move up at times, then we do have a group chat between, or they move across ways. Between the LP, there's 5 LP5 clans, 5 LP6 clans, and they do move across between clans. So they have like a group chat to say, okay, this guy's coming, accept him or whatever. Or they can also redirect recruits as well. I hate to waste recruits. This is one of my things, and this is what I'm hoping comes in the update, by the way. If Supercell are listening, when I reject somebody who's requested in the clan, I want to be able to speak to them and give them a message as to why I've rejected them or which other clan they can go to, rather than just reject, which seems really, really rude.
Sure.
And I'd really like that to happen. But because we have these chats that go across clans, we can say, look, we've got this guy. We can't use him for whatever reason. Maybe you'd like to take him. Avoids wasting these guys. Because if you reject somebody just outright, they might never apply again, and they might be a great guy. You never know.
No, I agree. That's a similar purpose that our code chat serves, that are all the codes. So, but yeah, I think we have the same type of method. I think it seems to be a really, it's not too spammy, it's not too overwhelming, but it still gets the job done. So I think we're in the same term there. Anything else you thought was worth mentioning, or should we just finish it up there? I think we've been talking for quite a while now.
And, I did tell you that we'd go on, didn't I? So we're nearly on an hour. We're nearly on an hour now.
Yeah, we definitely.
I could probably do another hour. I'm sure you could as well. Because I remember you saying to me earlier, it's one of your favourite parts of the game. It's me too. I never intended to be a leader. I literally never set out for that to be the case. It just kind of fell into my lap. It's just what had to happen, and I've enjoyed doing it. I mean, it can be stressful. It's a lot of work, but. It's as much, if not more, a part of the game as the actual raiding or anything else.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I've always liked, leading organizations of gamers and stuff like that in my past. So it's definitely something that I've always loved doing, just as much as the game itself. So I'm right there with you. And it's funny, we have old screenshots similar to you of back in the day of when we were like, how when we used to recruit people, it was like by their level, by their experience level.
Yeah.
So I have like our first screenshot, and we're like a red elite, level 70 plus or something like that. It's funny to look back on.
Well, can you remember when the glitch happened and people were shooting up to like level 250?
Oh my God, yeah.
That really threw a cat amongst the pigeons for quite a while.
That's a blast from the past. I forgot about that. But yeah. But, well, Spencer, it was awesome collaborating with you. I'm sure a lot of people got, a few tidbits here and there, and it was a pretty interesting conversation. I thought it was cool hearing about Lost Phoenix and stuff. So it was awesome meeting you as well.
Yeah, and it's the same to you, and hopefully we'll be speaking again very soon.
Absolutely, I'd love to. So, to all the viewers on both channels, go ahead and comment if you want to, if you have any different ideas that we can do together. I love working with Spencer, and maybe more come in the future.
That would be awesome. I'd love to do it.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, Ash. You take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos with your friends. We'll be back a little bit later. We're going to be raiding the most popular bases in Clash at the moment. But until then, you guys take care.
Send everyone!